Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world whereby I think that talk has become one of the leading vehicles for common sense. We've been talking about it for years, long before I came here. We talk every day about things that seem to make perfect sense to us, but to the rest of the lefty world, or those on the left, they think that we're a nightmare. Gary Neville, let me give you Gary Neville, a man who eked out an incredibly successful football career at Manchester United, played 85 times for England, and has built a portfolio of properties in Manchester, has got into media, was a crap football manager, didn't last long at Valencia, but has made a fortune, cynically on the back of his mate David Beckham, but he's made a fortune, 70 million quid he's worth. Gary Neville, a.k.a. Gary Lineker Mark II, thought it would be a really good idea over the weekend on his Insta thing or whatever, I don't know, Twitter, twat or whatever, What, LinkedIn, is it? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Anyway, this is what the idiot Gary Neville said. Pin back your lug holes and don't get too angry. Go.
Driving home from Salford City last night, I was driving actually to Salford City, going down a Littleton Road, seeing 60, probably 50 or 60 Union Jack flags, and I just kept thinking as I was driving home last night that we're all being turned on each other, and the division that's being created is absolutely disgusting, mainly created by angry middle-aged white men who know exactly what they're doing.
I'm sorry, I just, and I know I tell you every week I'm going to come here and I'm going to be calm. We're being turned against each other, mainly by angry middle-aged white men who deem it OK to put up flags. And he then went on to say that he owns several buildings in Manchester where he's been building for 15 or 20 years, and he saw one the other day and he took it down. So disrespectful does he think it is? I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I'm not going to sit here and say stick to football. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But entitled's the word I want to give you, right? Why am I surrounded by people like Neville who have made millions on the back of working class people, people they're supposed to represent, people they're supposed to respect? Does he actually believe that middle-aged white men raising flags is causing division in this country? I said to Ian, and I'll say to you guys now on this show, 3 hours after those poor Jewish people on Yom Kippur were murdered by that terrorist called Jihad, make up your own lines for God's sake, shouldn't have been in the country, but there we go. A protest march not 3 hours later, not a mile away, with people waving Palestinian flags and shouting obscenities. But Gary Neville wouldn't mention that, would he? No, but if you stood up and you went, I think it's disgraceful that these people are marching and inciting violence, people like Neville would go, oh, this is unfair, but it's all right to attack middle-aged white men. I'll tell you what, Gary Neville, right? Do two things. Take your fortune and give it to every immigrant and every group that you think isn't treated well in this country. Do that, but you won't, will you? Or go and live somewhere, you numpty, where there are immigrants on the streets and where your teenage daughters might not feel safe, rather than behind the gates of your massive mansion in Cheshire. I think it's an absolute outrage. I don't know what you think.